Today I'm going to compare and contrast Native American and African religions to Hinduism. I would like to talk about between the two religions are their strong beliefs in one or many gods, the role of sacrifice and dance in each religion, and finally, life after death. Now, of course, each religion also has something that makes it stand out or different. And so the differences I'd like to talk about include each religion's connection to nature, holidays or holy days, and religious leaders. The belief in one or many gods. Whether Native Americans find the divine present in many forms or as multiple deities, at the end of the day, they believe in one supreme god known as the High God. However, the High God is separate from the worries of the world and rarely involved in the lives of the people. The High God is seen as having a power over the people, nature, and spirits. The Lakota believe Wakantaka, or the Great Mysterious, as the power the High God holds. This belief in a High God is common amongst many Native Africans and Americans, and so although they worship multiple gods daily, they believe beyond all the minor gods, goddesses, and spirits is a God who governs the universe. The High God is considered a creator who has done his work and retired to a distant place. However, the newer society thinks of this High God, who they call Kwatnihal, or the Spirit of the Sky, as having an active role in the lives of the people. Whereas most Africans believe the High God is too distant and too great to pay attention to the problems and prayers of the people. Hindus devote themselves to many gods through temples, sacrifices, and prayers. Brahman is the ultimate god and is the core of Hinduism, as well as a part of the triumvirate, including himself as the creation, Shiva as the destroyer, and Vishnu as the preserver. Each of the gods serve a specific purpose and are all in some way interlinked. Each of the different religions believe in multiple minor gods, goddesses, or spirits. However, understand that there is one God, whether the High God or Brahman, who is higher than the rest. Most religions perform sacrifice as a way of pleasing the deities. Over time, sacrifices have included animals, grains, wine, beer, and rarely people. Rituals such as the sun dance can require self-torment or sacrifice. Sacrifices are used as a way to honor or please gods, goddesses, and ancestors, as well as to be a help through the stages of life. Sacrifices become a form of connection to maintain a good relationship between the people and the spirit world. Blood sacrifices are made when a community is preparing for a war, or in modern day, an election campaign. When an animal sacrifice is made, it is shared between the worshipper and the deity or ancestor, to whom it is offered. Eating together is an unbreakable bond. The ghost dance movement began in the year 1980. It combines elements of the Native American religion, including visions, songs, dance, and Christianity. Wovoka, the founder of the ghost dance movement, believed that Christ had visited him, had taught him songs, dances, and predicted the destruction of the people. Sacrifice and dance each play a strong role in the lives of the Native Africans and Americans, as well as the Hindus. Sacrifices are usually made to please deities, spirits, or gods. Both sacrifice and dance become a form of connection between the people and their beliefs. Dance brings people together from all around the world.
The topic of reincarnation usually generates a lot of controversy because it challenges the notion of one birth, one God, one heaven, and the day of judgment. So what exactly is reincarnation and how does it fit into the Hindu framework? Reincarnation is the belief that life doesn't end with the death of the physical body. To get around the problem of talking about reincarnation, we need to define a few terms first. The first one is Atman. Atman is the first principle, the true self of an individual beyond identification. It is the essence of an individual. The second term is Jiva. Jiva can be defined as a living being or the entity embodied with a life force. When the Atman is embodied within a living being, that is called Jiva. In Hindu thought, the Jiva, the embodied Atman, has two aspects, this gross outer body and a subtle inner body. When a person dies, it's his gross physical body that gets left behind. The subtle body goes to a different plane of existence at the time of death.
Native Americans generally fear the dead and so handle them with care. Many Native Americans believe in two souls. One is life or breath that accompanies the body, and when the body decays, the soul dies with it. The second soul is known as a free soul. This soul wanders around and after death goes to the land of the dead. It is said that the land of the dead can be happy or sad, but there is no heaven for the good and hell for the bad. The second and free soul doesn't last forever, But as long as the deceased is remembered by the living, and as he is forgotten, the soul begins to fade and eventually disappears. Occasionally, an infant resembles a deceased relative, and this is when the belief of reincarnation comes about. Karma literally means to do or to act. For example, what makes one person different from another, or why are siblings complete opposites? Now, a modern answer to that question would be heredity and the environment. However, ancient Indian thinkers believed that these answers came from an individual's virtues and choices. So Indians came to believe that every action had its fair consequence, and positive inside reflects on the outside, in the same way a criminal on the inside will reflect on the outside. Along with karma, Indian thinkers introduced samsara, meaning to wander across, meaning the life force or spirit of an individual does not pass with the body, but instead wanders across. This idea had become known to Western thinkers as reincarnation. Some see it as a blessing, others as a curse, but the whole idea is to break out of the ongoing cycle of karma and samsara, which is known as moksha. As much as Hindus too see nature as a gift from God, like many religions, the Native Americans have an incredibly strong bond with nature and the spirit world, and have made it a part of their everyday lives through hunting and agriculture. The belief that all nature is alive with spirits, lightning and thunder are individuals of their own. These spirits are found in mountains, forests, streams, plants, and animals. It is a guidance, a connection, and a way. Native Africans and Americans' strong connection to nature comes from their unbreakable bond to the spiritual world, as they believe trees, rocks, plants, and animals are all spiritually alive and have the power to harm or help them. Because of this, they keep their connection strong to the spirits through nature. Hunting is very important in the Native American culture. It was seen as a religious activity in which the hunter saw the animal as a fellow spirit. The hunter prayed to the animal of the spirit, and the only ones that were really needed were killed. Afterwards, the hunter would ask the animal for forgiveness. The animals were cared for, and nothing was ever wasted. Holidays are, of course, a very important part of any culture or religion, as they give us a sense of belonging and a way to express our beliefs, as well as connect to our family, community, and history. Because Hindus believe in a variety of gods and goddesses, they have a variety of feasts and festivals to attend throughout the year. For example, millions of Hindus make pilgrimage around the Ganges River each year to bathe and fulfill their vows. However, the more major holy days of the religion include Diwali, a time when the goddess of good fortune, Kali, is remembered, and pilgrimage takes place to sites connected to Kali's story. Holi is another popular festival in Hinduism. It welcomes spring, celebrates Krishna, and the destruction of demons. As you can see, these festivals and holy days really celebrate the Hindus' beliefs and cultures. However, Native Americans and Africans, on the other hand, celebrate their religions mostly around Jesus. Native American Christians celebrate their holidays in many traditional ways, specifically on Good Friday and Easter, celebrating the death and the resurrection of Jesus. Holy Week is also celebrated with songs and dance. Unlike the Hindus, Native Americans see things in life through symbols and visions. Like the deer symbolizes Jesus as they both sacrifice so the people can live and prosper. And visions of Jesus and his mother Mary are also very common in the Native American communities. Generally, Native American religions were free of priesthoods. Rituals were done together and through the connections with the spirit world. There is a so-called medicine man who has healing powers and is appointed to use his power to heal the people through visions from the spirit world. However, as much as they are empowered to heal, they can also bring sickness, curse, and even death. This power comes with great responsibility. Hinduism, on the other hand, consisted of religious leaders who had been a part of a movement and a journey of their own. For example, Mohandas K. Gandhi, a 20th century Indian reformer known for his work and impact in the political and social fields. Gandhi faced many different religions and cultures, however, his ideals of Hindu heritage shaped him. He was a leader who stood strongly for his people. Quick sum up of my presentation. In the similarities, we learned that both religions believe in one ultimate God over all the minor gods, goddesses, and spirits. We learned that sacrifice and dance play a very special role in both religions to connect to the deities and spirits. And finally, we learned both religions strongly believe that the soul doesn't just pass with the body once an individual dies, but in a way begins a life of its own. In the category of differences, we learned Native Americans have a much stronger connection to nature and spirits than any other religion through hunting. We learned holidays and holy days are both a key part of any and every religion or culture, as it brings us close to those who are important and becomes a part of our identities. And finally, we learn religious leaders can come in many forms, whether it's a man who heals a people through powers or leads the people through a journey of his own. Overall, while creating this presentation, I learned that both religions are a lot more alike than I thought. And as much as each one has its differences, I learned that through both of our similarities and differences, we can unite.